Hey everyone, I'm here with a 2022 Subaru Outback 2.5 Limited, and today I just want to do a 2-year to 10-month 33,000 mile update review, what it's been like over the last 2 years, 10 months, and just overall how we like it. What are some pros, what are some cons, what are some issues that we've had with it. I'll say right off the bat that this has been a really solid car. There are a few complaints that I have, but for the most part those are overshadowed by the pros of this car and just how much we've enjoyed it as a family. And as a 2-row crossover wagon SUV, it's been excellent. So I mean, just getting into the high points of this car, the ride is extremely smooth, it's very quiet, it's pretty fuel efficient for a non-hybrid SUV for, you know, a post 2020 vehicle that's only a couple years old. I mean, we've been averaging about 29 miles per gallon in the summertime with about 60% highway, 40% city miles. In the winter that drops down to somewhere like to 26.5 to 27 miles per gallon in the winter when it's below freezing outside. All-wheel drive system, as you can expect from a Subaru, has been excellent as well. It's a full-time all-wheel drive system. It's not disconnecting. You can send up to something like 70% to the back wheels if it's needed in extreme conditions. That's also bolstered by the fact that I was able to get some Michelin Cross Climate 2 tires, and shout out to Michelin for providing me those to review for the channel. They've been excellent. Tread noise is at a minimum for this type of tread design, and the fuel economy only took about a 1.2 mile per gallon hit overall in kind of some controlled A to B testing that I was able to do with the old tires that came on the car, which were Yokohama Vid GTs, and these Cross Climate 2s that I put on about 3 months ago. These tires have about 3,200 to 3,500 miles on them, and so far they've been wearing really well. Headlights are amazing at night. Engines is still very smooth and responsive. It's not a fast car by any means, so if you're looking for a speedy vehicle, you're going to want to get the turbo. So definitely not speed related if you're looking for that in a car. If you're looking for better gas mileage, you're going to want to probably go with like a Hyundai Tucson, Toyota RAV4, or Honda CR-V hybrid. Those are going to get, you know, at least 35 miles per gallon in the city and 35 to 36 on the highway, so about 4 to 5 miles per gallon better than this car. But this car also has a little bit more space, so if you're looking for something that kind of bridges the gap between a compact SUV and a large SUV, this is kind of right in that ballpark. And this car is 191.2 inches long, so it's about 4 to 5 inches longer than those 3 vehicles that I just mentioned. I would also say that in terms of complaints, we've had a few different issues with the car. We did have the radio sound system amplifier that was replaced. Basically, when we listened to audiobooks on road trips, about an hour into the drive, we would have a some type of hiccup in the system where the amplifier would cause the bass to start going nuts and out of control, and the bass would just be booming for no reason, and we couldn't even hear the voices on the audiobook anymore. And the only way to fix it was to basically restart the car. You had to get out, close the door, lock the car, leave it for 2 to 3 minutes, then get back in, then restart it, and then it would fix itself. It would only seem to happen maybe, I would say, once every 6 to 7 drives, so it wasn't super consistent. And if the drive wasn't long enough, it wouldn't happen. So the amplifier was replaced. That was something that I suggested to the dealer, actually, based on a technical service bulletin that was issued. So that was replaced. The mirror visor on the driver's side had a sharp edge. That was also replaced because it wasn't quite finished properly. So that was a nice bonus. It wasn't a huge issue, but it was something that seemed like a slight quality control thing with a brand new car. It was replaced about 2 years ago. We've had plenty of software updates on the infotainment system. I think I've done 3 updates in the last 2 years, 10 months on this thing. And the third and final update has really made this car, this infotainment system, a lot more responsive. It's still slow to boot up, especially on a cold start in the morning if the car's been sitting for more than a couple hours. It can be a little slow for the first full minute or 2. Once it gets up and going, though, it doesn't have any issues. CarPlay with iPhone connected via the cord always seems to connect without any issues. So I am really happy with that. Another thing that seems to be kind of happening with it is just like a slight buzzes and rattles and a few squeaks here and there. It's nothing major, and it seems to be more prevalent when it's cold outside. I brought it into the dealer for a visit just to try to get some front suspension noise to be looked at, because I think the bushings are making a little bit of a knocking noise when going over speed bumps. The dealer wasn't able to replicate that, unfortunately. They were able to replicate some sunroof noise that was happening that might have been contributing to the noise I was hearing. But I don't think it's fully resolved the issue. The sunroof basically just had to be lubricated, the tracks and the metallic components that are, provide the guides to move the sunroof back and forth. So those were lubricated, and that resolved probably about maybe 60 to 70% of the noise I was experiencing, but there's still some slight buzzes and creaks that seem to happen from the front end and also from the front of the headliner in the front row of the vehicle. This car is under warranty for about 2 more months, so hoping that I can bring it in right before the warranty's up and see if they can find some remedy for that, because it's something that I don't want to buy an extended warranty for, but I also don't want to live with that noise for the next 5 to 8 years that I have this car. And along those same lines, the dealer actually applied some like fleece flock tape to the driver's seatbelt mounting point, the anchor up towards the top that's adjustable on the B pillar of the car. So that was able to resolve a few squeaking and rattling noises that the seatbelt was having inside the pillar. So that was one fix, I guess, on top of the sunroof lubrication that also helped fix the issue with the rattling and kind of squeaky noises that I've been hearing. Also, as part of Subaru's warranty, 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty, they do cover brake linings, they cover windshield wipers, windshield wiper fluid, and just kind of basic maintenance items. And so I did have the front windshield wipers and the back window windshield wiper replaced at about 24,000 miles on the car. So had those done as well because they were starting to have some streaking issues. But I will say Subaru's windshield wipers are not that great, to be honest. After maybe 5,000 or 6,000 miles, they started to streak again. So these windshield wipers are nothing like the silicone or Bosch wiper blades that you can get out there that are more expensive but don't seem to streak that much and have better performance overall than these Subaru OEM blades. One other complaint that I have with the car is that the engine stop-start system at stoplights is I would say extremely rough for a new car. I know it's the Boxer engine design and possibly engine mounts and the way that the starter starts the vehicle and the way that the programming is, but there's got to be a solution to make this a little bit smoother. When the car was new, it was a little bit smoother, and I'm sure the engine mounts have slightly degraded over the last 2.5 to 3 years, so maybe that's contributing to some of it. But engine stop-start system is kind of a no-go on this car, and for a lot of people it's going to really bother them. Some engine stop-start systems you can live with. I know on my Alfa Romeo Stelvio it had an update to the engine control module that smoothed out the engine stop-starts considerably, and that's really made it a lot more livable while being able to save a little bit of gas if you're stopped at a stoplight for more than a minute. This car, it's not as smooth for sure. It's actually one of the roughest that's out there, so that's a little bit of a downside. The other thing is if you're driving at night and you have the fog lights on, the fog lights during an engine restart event, after you're taking your foot off the brake and taking off from a light after the engine's been off, the fog lights will actually flicker slightly. And the headlights won't flicker, the interior lights don't flicker, nothing else on the car flickers except for those front fog lights. And I don't know if post 2022 models, like 23 to 25 models, have that fixed, but it is definitely something that is a little weird. It's not a safety issue, it's not a huge complaint, but it definitely looks kind of probably interesting to those that are sitting in traffic nearby you or across the stoplight and they see your fog lights flicker for a second while the car restarts. Another thing to note that I noticed on the car is that the steering wheel stitching is starting to fray a little bit. It's not like a massive issue or anything like that. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but you can see there's some that's starting to fray here. I'm sure that a lot of steering wheels do have the fraying that will occur, but if the stitching is black, you're not going to see it the same way as you do with this contrast white stitching on the black leather. So if the steering wheel was white or if the stitching was black, you probably wouldn't see it as much, but because of the contrast, like I said, it just looks a little frayed. It's not a big deal, but it is something that I've noticed as well on this car. Now, in terms of wear and tear on this car, it's actually held up pretty, really well. Better than some of the cars I've had in the past, namely the 2019 Alfa Romeo Giulia that I had, where the seat was starting to wrinkle even after 30,000 or 25,000 miles. This car at 33,000, you can see that there is some, bolster wear to some degree on the driver's side, and the bolsters are fairly aggressive here, so I can understand that. Looks like this here is just some dust or something, but nothing else there on the shoulder bolster or the thigh torso bolster, I should say. Passenger side looks really good. Virtually no wear on that side. I will say too that the black plastic here, this shiny black plastic and the screen get tons of fingerprints and tons of dust on it. Not a big fan of that. I know it looks great when it's new and when it's shined up, but it's got scratches, it's got fingerprints, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but nothing that's not expected when you have that type of trim inside your car. On the inside, as you can see, I got the child seat installed. This car, you can install the child seat on the driver, passenger, and in the middle of the vehicle, so that's actually a huge plus. So you can put it in likely the safest position in the exact middle of the vehicle, with plenty of seat room. Like, you don't have to really move your seat at all to sit comfortably as a 6-foot tall guy in the front passenger or driver side when you have a rear facing convertible car seat or infant car seat that's mounted here. So big plus in terms of that. The Subaru Outback has a bit more legroom than a Toyota RAV4 or a Hyundai Tucson, so that is a plus there. The seats are in really good shape, no rips, no tears, pretty much no wrinkles or anything like that. Somebody pretty much sits back here with every drive over the last 5 months or so since our baby was born. So, and we also carry passengers around, so really it's been holding up pretty well in the back seat too. The last thing to note that we've had a few complaints about is the drivability of the vehicle. At low speeds, especially when the engine's not fully warmed up and when the AC is running, it seems to be very lurchy in traffic and in speeds under 30 miles per hour. I think it comes down to the torque converter lockup programming with the CVT transmission. When you take your foot off the gas abruptly, it will immediately kind of slightly lurch forward when the torque converter clutch disengages. So you do feel that, and it feels a little bit like engine braking, especially when you're coming to a stop. So there's a little bit of a transition there in terms of drivability that needs to be smoothed out a little bit. I'm not sure how much engine programming or a new ECU software update could fix that, but it's something that I will say is not a deal breaker, but again, it's just a little rough until the engine's fully warmed up or the AC is turned off, and then I feel like for some reason there's less load on the engine, and the torque converter lockup function for better fuel economy can be smoothed out. I think it's done for fuel economy reasons. You want the torque converter to be locked up as often as possible in order to maximize fuel economy. So because that system is working quite often in this car to maximize gas mileage, it's going to cause that to occur more often than like the previous generation or some of the vehicles that are out there. But that's one of the reasons why this car gets pretty good gas mileage for a non-hybrid vehicle. So I wouldn't say, like I said, it's not a deal breaker, but it's something that I wish could be smoothed out a little bit more. All right, so that's pretty much a 33,000 mile, 2-year, 10-month update on this 2022 Subaru Outback 2.5 Limited. And this has been a great vehicle for us. I've been really happy with it. It's not had any catastrophic issues. I think the biggest issue was just that amplifier replacement for the sound system. And then of course the infotainment system had a few updates here and there, but nothing crazy. It's been a great vehicle for us. We're really happy with it. We plan to keep it for several more years. It's been a great family car with a newborn child. He's about 4.5 months old, and as you could see based on the back seat room in there, you got plenty of room to mount an infant car seat or a convertible rear-facing car seat without moving the front seats, even for 6-foot tall driver and passengers. So that's a huge plus. And plus you can mount the child seat right in the middle of the car, so that gives you the ability to haul like people in the outboard position, so you can still have 5 people in the car, as well as putting your child in the safest position, which is the center of the back seat. So that's that's a huge plus. And so it just shows it's a good family car. We've been really happy with it from that perspective. It's a great road trip vehicle with a great ride, pretty good handling. The steering could use some work in terms of feedback and response, but again, this is not a sports car. Fuel economy has been great, as I explained, about 27 to 30 miles per gallon in mixed driving, 60% highway, 40% city. And the interior's held up really well, as you guys could see. So have many good things to say about it, and I've been really happy with it. Over 2 years, 10 months, and 33,000 miles. If you guys have any questions or comments, please put them in the section below, and I hope you enjoyed the video.